guys, how you doing? This is Sebastian from TechCentury and welcome to this brand new video. Today I want to share an initial review of the brand new Honbike U4 with you guys that you see right here in front of me, because I owned this bike now for 1.5 weeks and I just can't wait to share my thoughts with you guys because there aren't really many videos out there yet. So to get started, let's talk about the basics. First off, this is a city bike with a single speed transmission, as well as also a battery range of up to 100 kilometers, with the batteries being inside of the frame right here, and the charging port is down there, so you can't remove them, but that isn't really an issue because the bike is fairly light at a weight of around 20 kilograms. What's more is that we have a carbon belt drive down here, and this is supposed to last for 10,000 kilometers without maintenance, which is super nice to see as well. On top of that, we also have IPX6 and even components with IPX7 rating, so even if you're driving in the rain, that shouldn't be an issue at all. At the rear we then have a 250 watt motor, and we also have smart horn technology, which is basically a gyroscope that's built in and that then really recognizes if you're driving up a hill and then supports you with the right amount of power. Last but not least, this bike is available starting in August 2022 for around 1,699 euros. So today I really wanted to take the chance to share my first experiences with this bike with you guys, because it just really made me fall in love with driving bikes again after taking a break for almost 15 years. And especially with the gas prices going up, this bike is a super nice solution also for my commute to work. But now let's actually take a closer look at all the features that I love about this bike, starting off with the display right here. Because this display isn't just stuck on top, instead it's integrated right into the handlebar, giving you information about the current speed in kilometers an hour or also miles an hour depending on what country you're in, the current battery status, the mode, and also if you're connected through Bluetooth to the app or not. One thing that I really think is just major attention to detail is that the second that you actually turn on the front light, the display dims down so that it doesn't blind you at night, which I think is just super nice and super convenient. Next up, I have to mention the integrated stand right here, because on a lot of city bikes these stands aren't included right out of the box like it is on the Honbike U4, and here it not only looks good and feels very solid, but you also don't even have to pay anything extra. It's included right out of the box, and I think that's definitely worth a mention. Moving on, let's talk about the lights. So here we have an integrated front light that I mentioned before, and you can turn it on via the handlebar right here on the left side. And then we also have a rear light that you have to turn on manually on the light itself. But this also gives the bike a very nice appearance at night and definitely allows for others to see you in traffic. Next up, I also have to mention the design, not only the frame shape itself, which is very unique, but also the magnesium wheels. And it's definitely a head turner, and I think it just looks fantastic. But let me know what you think about it in the comments down below. If you listen closely, there is a Bluetooth icon here on the display, and that's because the bike also has app functionality. There's a Honbike app for iOS and Android that allows you not only to track your rides, but also to register the bike to your account so that nobody else can register it, and also even share the bike, for example, with family members. One thing that I really want to point out is though that the app is optional, so that you don't have to use it, and that I think is a big plus for this bike. Next up is definitely the ride quality, which is probably the most important about any bike, and I have to say that I'm super happy with this bike in this regard. Now you always have to consider that this is a single speed city bike, so it's not a mountain bike that you'll drive up the mountains with, but for city, for example commuting to work, this I think is the absolute perfect solution. Last but not least, I wanted to mention the different ride modes, and there are 4 to choose from. First off, bicycle, which just doesn't give you any support of the engine. What's great is that the bike doesn't really feel heavy if the engine is turned off or not used. Then we have eco, which of course gives you the most range with the least support. Then we have city, and then we have sport, and you can switch through the modes with this little dial here right there on the left side, which is super convenient. Also the buttons themselves are just very convenient as well. On the right side, you then also have an accelerator. So if you want to, for example, get a kickstart at a traffic light, then you just push this down, get a kickstart ahead, and this is super convenient, especially inside of the city. But now let's talk about what could be improved about the Honbike U4. Now keep in mind that I've only been driving it for around 1.5 weeks, so I'll definitely have a follow-up review in a couple of months after driving hundreds of kilometers with it, but this is just my first impression. First off, the light here at the front is super nice, and especially super nice at day or also inside of the city where you have other illuminations as well. But if you're outside of the city and it gets super dark, the light just doesn't reach far enough. It has enough power, but the angle doesn't seem to be quite right for me because it only reaches around a distance of 8 meters, and if you're driving at 25 kilometers an hour, it just isn't far enough. So this is why I purchased another light that should be coming in the mail, I think, on Saturday, to then illuminate more of the road if you're driving at night, which I personally absolutely love, especially with this silent belt drive as well. Last but not least, I would also want to mention the display, which is super nice. I just wish that it could also display the trip distance that you're currently driving and the total distance that you've been driving with this bike overall. These are all information that you can see in the Honbike app. I just wish that you could also view it here on the display as well. So overall, I can just say that I'm incredibly happy with the Honbike U4, that absolutely exceeded my expectations. I think for a price of 1,699 euros, it's quite a good deal, and I just can't really recommend it enough. I think if you pick one up, you'll be super satisfied with it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thank you very much for watching, and I really hope to see you next time.